someone said to me recently on my podcast saying, we used to fight against the term Africa is a country. Perhaps it's about time we actually embrace that. Because until we had colonization and barriers and stuff, Africa was a country with different tribes. So whether you're from Jamaica, a different tribe, Barbados, a different tribe, South Africa, or Lagos, we are one people. There's no hiding away from that. The black people came from the motherland. Whether you were born in a different place or not, that's where that DNA came from.
But you know what it is? I totally agree with that, but I just feel like because so many black people have been displaced over time.
The mentality has been displaced.
The mentality has been displaced, but at the same time, I can't even say that to them because, for example, that's like African Americans. Like, you've had 8, 9 generations over there. I can't tell you you're African. You're looking at me like, what are you talking about? Because you are, but
you're not.
But you don't know the history, or you don't even know your surname to a degree. So your culture now is in this new land, and you're celebrating your culture. So I don't want to upset someone American by telling them we're all African, because to them they're like, it can sound a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Insensitive.
Yeah.
Like when I go to America and I speak to some girls or guys or whatever, and I'm like, where are you from? I stop saying that. Because here, whenever you speak to someone, you're like, where are you from? Jamaican.
Yeah.
I'm West Indian. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in America, I'm from Kentucky. No, but where are you from? No, all my family, well, the rest of my family from Virginia.
My generation is from South
Do you know
Carolina.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, as black people, I get the argument where we say everyone's from Africa, that's the motherland, but
you also have to respect.
But you have to respect some people that are from America, people that are from Jamaica, that's where 5, 6, 7 generations of their family are from. They're within the culture. They've built the culture. Is it recording?
Yeah.
No, I'm blessed.
No. Oh, yeah. Let's cut that out.
You know what I'm saying?
Have you got the video?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I'm going to play the video. I think I saw it on your page, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Of Buju Banton talking about
the legend,
Afrobeats and whatever. That's why I like it as well, because you still rated him when you made your comment. Because a lot of people sometimes when they get salty about certain things,
they want to disrespect.
They just disrespect people and they'll be like, nah, you know what you're talking about. You're like,
that's my
you're a legend,
hero.
but with the greatest of respect.
Absolutely.
I disagree with what you're saying.
That's my personal hero. That's somebody I grew up on. As a fan, I basically was one of the millions of people that did the 10-year bid with him. Checking every online message. Oh, his lawyer's done a press conference, but you might be getting out in 2014. There's a technicality. I followed I know where I was when I saw the tweet that he was released. I remember how I felt when people traveled to Jamaica to go and watch him in the stadium. I know how many Instagram stories I went into to record clips just to capture a glimpse of Buju on stage with Stephen Marley, with Barry Hammond. Like, that's my own hero. So that's why it hurt a little bit more that someone that you admire so much just stuck a knife in a bit.
Let me play the clip. I'm going to play the clip and then... Oh, no, sorry. It's on your page as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of far down, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a big thing. Even...
I see it still.
Dancehall artists like Conscience and Co, everybody was talking.
We have sat and we have watched reggaeton taking music. They fuck with our music so hard and stolen our culture. I'm not knocking nobody, but you don't give us no respect, motherfuckers. Tell me one Afrobeat song that can uplift us. Uplift us, take us from... Kenya is suffering. The young men of Kenya are revolting. South Africa is on Sudan, South Sudan, you name it. But which one of these songs can I relate to for a peace of mind to tell me that I'm in the struggle and we are going to be better in the struggle, and even though the struggle is hard, we're going to overcome? Tell me. The greatest musician out of Africa was Fela Kuti, Lucky Dube from South Africa. We had Salif Keita. We have Youssou N'Dour. We have Baba Mal. Now, no one wanted to go beyond the pale of what those brothers was doing. I went to Africa in 1991 and I spent like 3 weeks constantly at the universities,
In Kenya?
under baobab trees,
In Kenya, that's
educating people from Ghana, all over the continent about reggae music and dancehall. But I was happy when they came to their senses to realize that music is the bridge that's going to connect us. But what I was disappointed in, they didn't try to connect with Jamaica the roots. They connect with everyone else except us.
You talking about Afrobeats?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
So they connected with everyone else except us. But when we look at what they're doing, their music is not free in Africa. It's fuckery.
I know what
The music need to free Africa. If I am all the way in Jamaica and my country and my people fight for free your continent with word, sound and power, and you have the ability now and all you're singing is fuckery, you don't sing a song to free Africa all now. We'll need them bringing this to the forefront of your mind, but we desire more from them. You want the money? Go get it. But what's going to be said about you later on and your posterity? You didn't make any impact. So, reggae music still stands predominant. It is still the king's music.
Yeah, crazy.
He went in, boy.
But
He stuck a knife.
there's a few things he said in there that was a bit like.
Yeah, it was
It was
wrong.
a bit,
Yeah,
man.
it was
I think it was a bit heavy. I feel like
Yeah,
he could have been, because at the end of the day, in terms of any music genre, you've always got, even in rap, you've got the conscious
yeah,
rap. Then you got 42 Doug and them, man.
facts.
You can't just expect everyone just to say, where's the conscious rap? No, because not everyone does that.
When Buju came in the 90s, Buju was a dancer. We in Africa knew him as a dancehall artist. Woman, you make my day. You make like he was like dancehall talking about everything.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a little bit of consciousness to it. I know he mentioned the record where he did for HIV and Co and them. You know, the Nori, they were in short. We followed that. So he was doing everything. However, he also said in that interview that dancehall was the part of reggae music that was a little bit more street, was talking about sex, raunchy, talking about, violence and stuff. Whereas root rock reggae was more music, was more spiritual. And so that in itself was a little bit of a contradiction. Number two, saying that Afrobeats artists hadn't given props enough to dancehall and Jamaica is one of, probably, in my opinion, one of the wrongest things ever. On my way here, I was just thinking, I remembered that my brother, Stoneboy, came on my podcast. And I think he's here, actually. Hello, Stoneboy.
General.
So listen, I'm on one of the biggest podcasts in the world, 3 Shots of Tequila with my brother Marv and Taze. And we're about to talk about the reggae, the conversation that Buju lit up online. And I just wanted to ask you one question and to answer easily. How many collaborations have you done with Jamaican artists?
Yo, I've done like 45 plus.
Can you name
Jamaican alone.
Can you name some of the artists on that 45 plus list?
Let me go everywhere. The list is stored.
Yes, just name.
I've done Gappy Ranks.
Yep.
Because we're talking about I've not even added Stylogy.
Okay.
If I add Stylogy, it's gonna be 47.
Okay.
As far as I can remember.
Give us some names.
So that's like Gappy Ranks, Teaching, Morgan Heritage, Jamil Kabaka, Pyramid, Ayoctane, Tentic, Squash, Jakion, Sizzler, Wayne Marshall, Calado, against Sasko, Taros Riley, Jameer Morgan, Sean Paul, Vanessa Bling, Da Vinci, Beanie Man, DeMarco, Bounty Killer, Joe Mesa, Mali, Skip Mali, Johan Mali, King Cross, Busy Signal, Shaggy, Jashi, Jesse Royal, Dexter Dobbs, Queen Omega, Itana, Sean, Christopher Martin, Alakai Hailey,
So Stoneboy, thank you very much for that. I just wanted to hear it from your voice, so I don't say. Let me carry on the conversation. I'll give you a call later.
And I might want to add,
yes,
I host the festival that brings my brothers home in Ghana. I pay them from my pocket. I bring them every year. You know that.
And who are the artists that you've taken to Ghana every December?
I brought Beanie Man, I brought Busy Signal, I brought Morgan Heritage, I brought Tentic, and I brought Jamil. I brought what you say, cranium, you know? So over that period, I've been doing that, like, you know, and this year we're gonna bring Masika and Kabaka, you know, we're speaking to them. So, you know, if that's all I can answer, fine. But I wish I could, you know, express on the Buju situation.
Say something.
I was there with the father, you know?
Yep.
I was there in Jamaica, in Gargamel studio with Buju Banton, and he was telling me this in person. You know what I'm saying? So I could relate to what he's saying, and I think I stand a better chance of explaining what it really is, you know, in truth. You understand? So the thing is that I feel like how it's being taken again to me is that they should dig more into the conscious music that African artists have been doing, so that they can find it out more. That we have been preaching that vibe, and I know my brothers like Burna Boy has conscious songs. Myself, I definitely have a lot of conscious songs. One of the biggest ones is Rongo. I performed in Jamaica a couple of times. Rebel Salute, Reggae Townfest, and you know, and all these festivals, Summer Jam across the world. So I just want to use this opportunity to make people know that African music is conscious music. Yes, definitely, people are doing, you know, the most to try to cross the measures. But I wonder how many Jamaican artists have flown African artists to come across over to get this unison, to get this, you know, energy going on. So I, as one of the persons, I think I've lived exemplary, you know, to get the respect of all these godfathers in trying to push the same, you know, information that they are trying to put out there. So
and listen,
I believe that they just have to,
I just wanted to say that's the reason why I called you. So I wanted you to come from your mouth before I continue speaking on the topics that you've spoken about. 45 collaborations and counting with Jamaican artists, from Sean Paul to Shaggy to I.O. Kane to Morgan Heritage. I salute you, my brother. I will.
Sizzler, you know,
I'll take it from here, but you'll hear from me soon. And that is Stonebwoy live on the 3 Shots of Tequila podcast.
Love, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, brother.
Love, man.
The reason why...
Even Afro Nation.
Absolutely.
Popcorn has come to Afro Nation. You've seen Popcorn on the stage.
Popcorn is actually an example of what Stonebwoy was requesting there, where a Jamaican artist has not only captivated Africa with his performances, but he's also come into Africa and really embraced and tried to build that bridge. If you see his performance in Gambia, I think it was Gambia or Kenya, he performed at a stadium. He goes to Ghana like almost every year. Stonebwoy mentioned Burna Boy. Burna Boy's music is conscious, but I said it's honey, it's thorns wrapped in honey. Burna Boy's Soke, one of his biggest records ever, was a direct shot at the Nigerian government. But a lot of people don't know. I mean, Soke. Even Ye, he's speaking about his frustrations. His record with Another Story featuring Manifest from Ghana, that's conscious music. Burna Boy made a record 2010, 2020, just a couple days after the massacre or the alleged massacre that had taken place in Lekki. He wrote and spoke directly to the problems in Nigeria. You know, if you look at people like Yemi Alade, for instance, Criminal in Agbada is directly at the Nigerian government. A lot of the big records, Oju Elegba by Wizkid, is speaking about the problems in the culture.
In the end,
The problem is, there's a baseline.
Yeah.
So we're just there.
So we're just vibing. But
it is though.
the tunes, though, the beats are slapping. The beats are slapping. Buju's not hearing
Buju don't know.
This one got this. This ain't really. But Buju, allow it, man. Listen properly, brother.
Techno Miles Rara is conscious music. But again, Buju Banton is one of the most incredible voices from Black music around the world. Yes, he's made fantastic dancehall music. And shortly before he went in the United States of America, he switched to a lot more conscious music after The Driver or during that time. Yeah, he had conscious. So now a lot of the people following Buju, when you see him on stage, yes, he might do a lot of dancehall records, but he's now very strong in the spiritualism. And maybe just as Stonebwoy says, he would like a lot of the Afrobeats, Afro-pop artists to also kind of take the mantle of spiritualism, talking to the people. But Fuse OGG said something today that I felt was very important. Afrobeats might make you vibe and dance and make people enjoy, but Afrobeats is responsible for changing the face of Africa around the world, inviting thousands, if not millions of Black people around the world to come back to Africa for the first time in hundreds of years, where African Americans, Caribbeans are making Africa a destination because of the door that Afrobeats opened.
Even making it cool to be African.
Phil said something that a lot of people also forget. Before 2019, the year of return, Ghana was issuing 40,000 visas a year. By the time it was December, Ghana had issued over 750,000 visas that the president of Ghana put in an order that you can fly to Ghana without a visa and pay and get an instant visa at the door.
That's why they done it.
That's why they did, because there were so many applications. They had issued over 750,000. The embassy in America and the UK and Europe was overwhelmed. And he just said, you know what? Don't bother making an application. Fly to Ghana and get a visa on arrival. That's how many people wanted to go home.
That's key,
And that has continued since 2019, solely because of the Afrobeats music. Look at what Afrobeats has done to Nigeria in December. It's now made people feel comfortable that, you know, Africans are cool. And that's also a form of consciousness where our brothers and sisters around the world can now look at their brothers from Africa and see them as like equals and cool, actually.
And you know what's sick that you've touched on the point I didn't even think about, that Afrobeat has grown, and obviously you have a little issue with this person, that person, but generally speaking, there's no like, it's not like rap, gangster rap, where people are dying.
No.
Everyone at Afrobeat roughly kind of gets on. Everyone's making their music, and as you said, like when you look at Afrobeat as a whole, the world look at it as clean music.
Yes.
It plays on the
Feel good
radios,
music.
Plays on the radios, whatever. So, and that is, it gives a good example of Black music. You know, like a lot of people will think, Black people, all they do is gang. Nah, man. Like, listen to this. It's calm. Your kids can listen to this.
Facts.
You listen to it on the radio.
You can play it in the car.
You hear it. Remember you said the Grammys, the photographer's playing it while people are taking pictures
with
of the Grammys.
Jay-Z and everything. We see Ira Star with Rihanna at the Beijing Festival last week. She was vibing there. We've seen Burna Boy. We've seen Wizkid with Machel Montano.
LVs.
We saw, look at the LVs.
And Burna
One
LV.
of the reasons why that stuff went really viral was because of the amount of Afrobeats artists that were in the audience and how Africans went crazy for that. Wizkid was there. Burna Boy was there. Rema was there. Adekunle Gold was there. We had so many representatives in the building that it got so much visibility around the world. 2-3 days ago, Burna Boy was headlining a 100,000 capacity festival in Romania.
Mad.
Singing every song. Not only the conscious music, but also music that got people that you wouldn't see celebrate African culture do it.
Yeah.
So when someone like Buju speaks, I wanted to watch that interview because I felt I was going to school. Now it's time to sit down and learn. I took notes outside of the shots that they opened the interview with, because shout outs to Drink Champs, Nori, and DJ, you know, I love those guys. The way they went in, I knew they knew what was going to be clickbait. Because from the minute Buju sat, it was like, yo, so Afrobeats, you don't think I'm like, come on, bro. Like,
set him up. I said, Afrobeat, you know, because
I'm like,
would you
yo.
allow it, man?
I'm trying to think, yes. Is it a thing where like Buju just hasn't listened to the right playlist?
I think, one, Buju has not listened to the right playlist or hasn't listened to the music enough. Like,
intentionally.
Exactly. If you listen to some of these artists that you see in the charts, they also have a lot of conscious music speaking to the problems that we have. But I also think that as a culture, we haven't done well in promoting some of these conscious songs that these big superstars have made. Another story, Burna Boy, you know, Soke. We also have to translate what these lyrics are to other people that might not get it. So they're just not having fun. He's talking, BN from Kenya. Kenya is like the face of youth uprising in Africa right now.
Yeah,
Because-
there's a listener that we have on.
They're on it.
Yeah.
There's an avid listener of Free Shots, and he's always sending me stuff about.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
Because what they did was unprecedented. The government was about to pass a bill that was going to really make the country so difficult for the youth and for Kenyans. And the president was adamant that this bill was going to pass. And the young people stood up and said, no way in hell are you going to take this through, the Senate. And they were on their feet protesting every single day that they lost lives. People were killed by the Kenyan security forces, so much so that the president stood up and he had a press conference where he said he was not only withdrawing this bill, not putting it through, but he was also going to disband the government, sack his ministers for the fact that it had gotten to this point where I was about to make a major mistake that was going against my people, and none of you guys could rein me in. That's how powerful the Kenyan youth are. And because of that, Nigerian youth and other youth in Africa saw that, listen, these politicians and power players actually are scared of the power that the youth have. And they're starting to stand up. And Bien, one of the hottest singers in Africa, he has a song that speaks to that. That's actually doing well in the country and charting and touring, off of this type of music. But again, because the likes of Buju might not understand some of these lyrics, Bien is singing in Swahili, Burna Boy and Co are singing in, broken English and Yoruba. He might not get it. So we need to do a lot more in promoting that. And then I also think that as Jamaicans and Caribbeans are making Africa like a spiritual journey, I think Africans need to make the Caribbean a spiritual journey too. We have to go to Jamaica. We have to go to Barbados. We have to go and connect with these brothers and sisters and just touch the culture and taste the culture and be a part of it, because we don't have any other bridge if it wasn't for music.
You see, my only issue here is that I think what Buju wants another Fela Kuti. Buju wants an artist that only makes music. That is, I'm on the government's
fighting
neck
the government
every single day. The system, Illuminati, the West is the devil. Like, he wants an artist that's gonna be like that. And unfortunately, I hear it, but he himself wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
He changed.
Do you know what I'm saying? And not in a rude way. You went jail for smuggling. So you're conscious, but to a degree, even the world got to you. So how can you be on Africans to be like, you need to be, brother, the world got to you and you're this person who has foresight and you know all these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't force this person onto Africa. And also, we always know conscious is not always going to be the loudest voice.
Yes.
We always know that.
People, we see it in rap.
We see it in rap all the time.
We see it in rap.
We see it even in the media.
Yeah.
If you're too conscious, most people say you're mad.
Bro, if it wasn't for the beef with Drake, Kendrick will not be the flavor of the month.
Well, people want a bass line.
It's true.
Yeah.
People want a bass line.
People want a little R&B taste.
That's dope still.
So that's the thing. Like, but for me, he spoke about a couple of things that it was education.
Yeah.
He spoke about his bloodline being Igbo. He's a proud Igbo man. You can hear it in his voice. And he knows where that came from. He speaks about staying true to your culture and yourself, speaking even to reggae dancehall artists, this is something I preach to Afrobeats artists too. If an American comes to you in Africa, he doesn't want you to rap like you're from New York. He wants you to add that African sauce to it.
Hey, listen, I've been having this problem with DJs that go abroad and start DJing like they're from there.
No.
Brother, you got booked because of how you DJ in London. DJ like how you DJ in London. Why are you changing your set?
I hear what you're saying.
It's the
But
biggest
that's why you
mistake.
got booked,
No,
though.
I hear it, but it depends. Maybe they might not have.
No.
Because, for example, you know that.
Why did you get booked then?
You know, for example, there's times when me and Chizo are in Arabia, and when you go to like Atlanta or Detroit or in America, the way the DJ plays there in terms of the rap music or whatever, bring that here,
It's dead.
A lot of people are going to be in the rave like,
Bro, it's dead.
too much rap.
It's dead,
Too
bro.
much rap.
Yeah, but I didn't bring him.
Listen,
No,
I went to-
I'm just saying. So like sometimes when you're DJing, you have to look at the crowd, see where you are, and you have to kind of acclimatize
Bro,
to
no,
your crowd
no.
a little.
Let me tell you something, right? One of my closest brothers is a DJ. Shout out DJ So Good. And we go to Europe a lot. And every time when I invite him to Europe, like, he's watching the audience, and then he comes to me, he's like, bro, so maybe I'm going to change the split. I said, brother, they booked you because you're a London Afrobeats DJ. They want you to be different from what these people are doing.
That's what I'm saying.
So the minute you make the mistake of stepping into what everybody else is doing, they want their money back, bro. Because they love what they saw in London, how you were switching it up.
But man, I'm talking about DJs who have a name. If you're
Yeah.
you're not just booked to fill a slot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I booked you because you're you.
Yeah.
I want you to bring you. Don't come in here and be like, because I'm in Amsterdam, I got to play.
No,
But
bro.
come on, man. And I'm there and I'm like, they said this is a UK/da connection. It's the UK DJ playing, but it sounds like I'm in Tiger. God allow me, man.
Bro, let me say something that's gonna shock you, right? Afro Nation this year was probably the best, most organized Afro Nation ever. However, the DJs dropped the ball, brother.
Serious?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bro, they had like a massive Francophone audience, which is normal. A lot of French people are now coming to Afro Nation. So the audience is heavily French.
Yeah.
And when you're a DJ, when you play one or two French records, you see
They go mad.
30, 40,000 go crazy. You're like, rude boy, man needs to stay on this thing.
Yeah.
I could tell you, like, for 3 days at Afro Nation, I could count the amount of Burna Boy songs played by DJ. I can count the Whiskey records.
So it was just French.
They were just going dumb French, where it became so bad, it's almost like the whole list, everybody was playing the same list for 3 days.
Yeah, they get scared. I've noticed it. They get scared. They see what gets the crowd going, and they're like, this is how I need to play. Because the crowd going mad looks good for the drone or the camera.
For the snap.
So now it looks like, because remember, you get you play it back in slow-mo anyway.
Yeah.
You don't hear the music. So I think, but that makes the experience terrible,
That's
man.
dumb, though.
Yeah.
The reason why it's dumb is because I get it, like throwing in French,
Yeah.
the nigga booba.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shout out
yeah,
my
that's
nigga
the
Booba,
Booba.
That's
man.
a proper gangster,
Shout
bro.
out-
man.
shout out
Nah, it's
Booba.
not playing,
But
bro.
no,
Booba,
No,
man.
that's a proper gun.
I saw it in real time.
Nah,
I
don't
saw it in
play,
real
don't
time.
play. That's a
I
real
saw
gun.
it in real time.
That's
Shout
a
out
real
the French
gun.
You know, I
guns,
saw it, I
man.
didn't know who it was.
Yeah, I know.
Until he came out, and then I remember Tazer. I'm thinking, hold on, this.
Nah, it's a real
All them man
gun.
came out in the same top.
Nah, that's a
A
real
man came
gun.
out Afro Nation with a Henny in his hand.
Bro, that's
I
a
said,
real
yeah,
gun.
yeah, this guy's
Nah,
real
it's
done.
official.
guy's
That's
real
a
done.
gun, bro.
Booba.
Yeah.
But yeah, play the French songs, cool. But Afro Nation is an event that like you can play Burna, Wizkid, you can play all these people.
Yeah.
Thames, they know
Just
them.
just go.
Just play everything.
And just do you.
50 Cent went there last year and showed.
Yeah.
Play 50. Like you can play like
You could
Afro
blend
Nation is one
it.
of those things where you can play everything. You can play dancehall, you can play everything.
So I think a lot of DJs dropped the ball on that. And I think it's exactly what Taze was talking about. Like people get to positions now and they're trying to, fit into what they think is gonna, especially if people came to you specifically for what you're doing, you have to stay to it. And I think that's one of the things that I took away from Buju's interview, where he's saying not only to dancehall artists, but to artists around the world to stay true to themselves, be original. That's why people come to you.
But I think the thing is with Buju is made from a different cloth.
It's come from a
Unfortunately,
different era.
like their era. Remember when you had I was fortunate enough to maybe listen to dancehall at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
But because you went to parties and they still played the old
The
songs,
old ones, yeah.
you kind of heard it, but the Capletons, your Sizzlers,
Boy,
your Bujus,
crazy.
people like that,
Super
there was an
talented.
essence of, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the
Facts.
fame.
They just
Like,
wanted
I
to
don't
make
care about
music.
the garments.
Facts.
The music the music I'm giving you is, there's a message, and those who know will appreciate it. Those who don't, you'll understand later.
Even when
That was their message.
Even when they were making music just for people to have fun, like
It was still
Young
a message in
Patra,
it, bro.
Supercat, whatever. None of those guys struck me as people that really cared about everything else other than just good music.
Yeah.
From Shabba to any one of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, no matter how small Jamaica is as a country, the impact of Jamaica, especially on the entertainment world with the music, is so humongous
crazy still.
because the source is different, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, different.
It's crazy. But I think, I believe that in terms of black music in general,
Yes.
it's different because you can look at like rap started in New York and look at New York rap and then look at LA rap.
Different.
Like different, bro.
Different.
Even here when you get garage, different, bro.
Different.
Grime, different, bro. Jungle, different. Like anything Afrobeat, different. Anything black people touch, there's a difference. But but you see me, I get what Buju was saying to a degree, but I don't think the delivery was right because
it seemed heavily critical.
Yeah, and also you're a man who's all about unity.
Yes.
It sounded very divisive.
And I didn't want to put us in that position again where we've been struggling so hard to find a bridge between Africa and the Caribbean, the organic bridge, because the powers that be have sold us stories for decades and tried to pitch us against each other. Yo, man, you men were sold by your brothers and sisters. They were taken, bro. Whoever, when the oppressors were taking slaves, it was not a handshake situation. It was they took because they had the power. Yeah. They had all these things. So there's that division, and we're doing so much to make sure that the bridge is built and people kind of show love. And when we have one of the most powerful voices on one of the biggest platforms speaking like that, where people can take it negatively, that can send us back. I was so happy. Shout out to my brother Conscience. We saw Conscience in my comments where he was breaking it down saying, because he's made music with everybody, from Yemi Alade to everybody. Look at Cranium. Africa is their home. From Lagos to Accra, these guys are constantly there.
But you see, this conversation is so nuanced, because one West Indian person or one Caribbean person will say, like Buju, my ancestors were Igbo, I'm African, that's my roots. But then another Jamaican will say,
don't put me with those Africans. I saw in the comments.
And the thing is, they're within their right to say, because remember, if they don't know that history, my history is Jamaica. Yeah. This is where I'm from.
Put me in that.
We've got our own culture. Yeah. So it's a hard one because some Jamaicans would try and tell you, no, I'm African, that's where we're all from. Another Jamaican's going to say to you, no, don't say that to me. This is my culture. I
saw it in a comment.
And they're both right.
Crazy. That guy was like, don't put me in the box with them African people. That's not me. I had to respond to that. I'm like, so what box are you in? Until anybody asks you a question where you're from, when they see you, you're African, bro. They don't care whether you're Black Jamaican or you're from Congo or Lagos. When they see you, without saying where you're from, you are African. And that alone is enough for us. Look at what happened in London the last couple of weeks. You think them man, the EDL and co were asking people specifically what country are you from before they attacked you? You're Black, you're a foreigner, you're African. They put everybody in the same box. And it's about time. Someone said to me recently on my podcast saying, we used to fight against the term Africa is a country. Perhaps it's about time we actually embrace that. Because until we had colonization and barriers and stuff, Africa was a country with different tribes. So whether you're from Jamaica, a different tribe, Barbados, a different tribe, South Africa, or Lagos, we are one people. There's no hiding away from that. The Black people came from the motherland. Whether you were born in a different place or not, that's where that DNA came from.
But you know what it is? I totally agree with that, but I just feel like because so many Black people have been displaced over time,
the mentality has been displaced.
The mentality has been displaced, but at the same time, I can't even say that to them because, for example, that's like African Americans. Like, you've had 8, 9 generations over there. I can't tell you you're African. You're looking at me like, what are you talking about? Because you are, but
you're not.
But you don't know the history, or you don't even know your surname to a degree. So your culture now is in this new land, and you're celebrating your culture. So I don't want to upset someone American by telling them we're all African, because to them they're like, it can sound a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Insensitive.
Yeah.
Like when I go to America and I speak to some girls or guys or whatever, and I'm like, where are you from? I stop saying that Because here, whenever you feature someone, you're like, where are you from? Jamaican.
Yeah.
I'm West Indian. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas in America, I'm from Kentucky. No, but where are you from? No, all my family, well, the rest of my family is from Virginia.
My generation is from South
Do you know
Carolina.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, as black people, I get the argument where we say everyone's from Africa, that's the motherland, but
you also have to respect.
But you have to respect some people that are from America, people that are from Jamaica, that's where 5, 6, 7 generations of their family are from. They're within the culture, they've built the culture. That's where you're from. So that's what I'm saying. That's why, because if we're all from the same place, I get it, but we don't sound the same. We don't do the same things. Like you can put a black Brit in a room, an African American, a Nigerian, a Jamaican, then it's completely different, bro. The way they dress, the way they talk, the way they see men and women, the way they see relationships, views, parenting, adulthood, completely different. You know what I'm saying?
You can put a European, an Englishman from London and an Englishman from Newcastle and Liverpool in the same room.
And they won't be the
same. They sound different. They don't, but they all believe that they're the same. But black people, do you think a German white person, an English white person, when they're talking about white people, they're not raising their hands up to say, nah, man, I'm actually German or I'm English. They, behind closed doors, they band together, brother. It's one umbrella.
I don't know, because Europe hate England still.
Yeah, because they pulled out.
They don't like us still. They don't like us still. And even the food we eat, everything, they don't like it.
It's different.
But just to close, do you think that there was a bit of jealousy with Buju's comments? Because I've been noticing that I think with the rise of Afrobeat, and I can't say the decline of dancehall, but I think maybe because Vibes was in jail and there was a bit of beef over there, like dancehall wasn't how it was in the early 2000s with the Sean Pauls and people like that. So I'm saying, do you think there's a bit of jealousy creeping in?
I've seen a lot of people saying that, but I don't think it is. I think, obviously, Afrobeats is getting a lot of attention. However, for someone like Buju as well, when you're saying this is Afrobeats and then they say, give me an Afrobeats artist, you point to Burna Boy and it's like, or Stone Boy is like, these guys are making dancehall music. This is dancehall, not Afrobeats. And they're still using our sauce.
Oh, so you're saying so the sound
So he's thinking like, this guy, you say this one's Afrobeats, but he sounds like he's from Jamaica. This is still Jamaican sauce. So sometimes that might come into it. The fact that you think it's part of our culture that they're still using to leverage to be successful.
And not paying us homage.
They're thinking that. But a lot of these artists have paid homage. I don't know how many times Stone Boy or Burna Boy goes to Jamaica every year. They go there consistently. Like they pay homage, they say it in their interviews. But in some cases, people think it's not loud enough, especially with the hip-hop and American culture. I've actually had to tell a lot of artists that when they're doing interviews on platforms like 3 Shots of Tequila or Breakfast Club, talk about the influence of hip-hop and reggae and dancehall on Afrobeats music. Let them know that we watched MTV Bass. We watched MTV. We watched Yo MTV Raps. We saw the swag. Burna Boy in his Timberlands didn't come from Ibadan. Exactly, man. That's what he saw, Wu-Tang Clan and Naughty by Nature do. Yeah. So that's hip-hop. The tattoos don't come from Lagos, Nigeria. That's hip-hop.
But Pidgin, Pidgin sounds a bit like when you hear Pidgin anyway. Pidgin, it sounds a bit.
That's why we're the same.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not. So sometimes when a man is saying this, it's like. But if you go to Nigeria and you hear certain people talking Pidgin, it sounds.
Or Sierra Leone or Liberia. Absolutely.
So I don't know, man. It's an interesting thing. But he said like they're not paying homage to the roots. I'm like, the roots?
They do. Because the roots is back to Africa, right?
So I'm like, when he said that,
this
the
guy
roots.
is a troublemaker.
No, when he said the roots, I was like, choice of words is a bit mad.
This guy's going to make Buju come for us.
Exactly, man. Nah.
I don't mind.
Buju is an absolute legend. We love and adore him in Africa. Even though he hasn't, I think he's gone to Kenya. He needs to take a tour of Africa and see how well loved he is and how important he is to African pop culture as a whole. And it just feels like he hasn't heard enough or understood enough with the new genre that's taking advantage, just really blowing up in the world. But once he takes a closer listen, I think his views will change. And once he sees how much respect we as a culture give reggae and dancehall, he'll probably change his views too. But it's one people, it's one culture, it's, reggae, Afrobeats, is one, man. And the Babani just needs to understand us that we speak the same language. He might be speaking patois, but he also said, me, oh. He said that. So he was talking like he's a proper Igbo man as he is. So shout outs to Buju and the entire reggae dancehall community, man. Yeah, the division has gone long enough. It's time for just love and bridge.
Yeah. Love for coming through, man. Where can people find you?
Thank you, brother. As always, at Afrobeats Podcast, at Adesope.olajide or Shopsidu on Instagram. Just type the #1 Afrobeats podcast in the world. I'm a papa.
And the shout out, Shopsy, man, doing these things. I'll see you everywhere. 1 minute, man. I didn't even know you were in the country. In Germany, Detroit. I'll see him on the stage just dancing. I'm like, this Shopsy is everywhere.
I'm going with Taze to Sweden next. That's the place. Shout out Scandinavia, man. We love you.